You mentioned something in there that I want to kind of dig into more because you mentioned internal and alignment, right? And that CMOs, we have worldwide, we have the shortest tenure in the C suite. And a big part of that is because of misalignment. And in fact, of all the C suite executives that I've talked about, over 70% of them talk the number one challenge is internal alignment. So, this balancing act, just what we're doing and fighting these perceptions of us as the big cost center, right? Not having, really being seen as having a seat at the table as good as our last lead. You keep going on and on. Imposter syndrome. You could put it all. There's a lot that goes on in the ranks of the CMO and CMO communities that are really well discussed. How do you think about this balancing act with sales and the rest of the C-suite?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big crux of it, right? It's a combination of what we, already discussed. So I feel like in my case, because, we have a relatively big team, at least in Finland, we have over 20 people. So that helped build the structure to, for example, align budgets correctly. But also a big kind of internal team helped to have conversations and do that internal alignment more than maybe a small team is able to. So that works in my case. And, it's funny because I used to lead performance at some point in my career, but I've turned completely 180 back to the basics. It's no secret that, I like to do less performance and boost a lot more the awareness and consideration. And I try to steer us there and then kind of have those conversations that help us steer there. But it's a lot about, I feel like, making sure that we align the business needs between the long term and short term. In our case, B2B and B2C, figure out what's important right now and in the next 6 to 12 months, and then kind of do the tough sacrifices elsewhere to keep the balance and the total in line. It's about educating the C-level and sales on kind of why long term matters and why it will, eventually bring the results they want. Like, I feel like part of my job as a CMO and also as a kind of classically trained marketer is making sure that sales leaders, our CFO and CEO and other stakeholders, they understand kind of the trade-offs. If we become like a sales support machine, we'll only focus on today and we won't survive the tomorrow. So, the cascading effects would lead to ruin and death by 1,000 cuts from competitors eventually. But yeah, I think it's an interesting balance that I think everyone kind of deals with differently, and it depends on the company and the stakeholders that you got to deal with.